Thank you for sticking around. This is supposed to be a workshop, so there will be work. One of the things we're going to do, or now? Yeah. That require that we are in lines. So if we could just fill out the lines and put everything somewhere else, because I need you up and moving, right? I don't know if you were in the plenary before, but this is like a continuation. And I found that when they scheduled me like this, it was the perfect thing, because I don't have to repeat anything. And those of you who didn't attend the plenary, I can share the QR code with all the information from the plenary, so ask for it at the end. Again, at the end, I have a QR code with the full presentation. Okay? Okay, can we stand up? Yeah. You see, the first activity is to be done in pairs. Pairs have how many people? 2. Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, right? What I want to do is face a partner. Face a partner. And put your hands like this. And I want you to close your eyes, and then I want you to feel the presence of your partner and raise either your left hand or your right hand without looking. Not even peeking. Let's see how in sync you are. No touching, no touching. Okay, open your eyes. Okay, how many of you got the same hand? Look at the level of intuition in the room, right? Now, I'm going to ask you to do something different. Hey, those of you who couldn't get the same hand, don't worry, because this is a process. We started with our hands, right? Now, I want you to face your partner, hands like this, and I want you to look at your partner in the eye. Don't look at the hand. And I want you to clap at the same time by looking at the person's eye, not the hand. No, it's not working. I hear. And we should hear. Okay? Was this easier? Yes. Did you get a synchronous? Yes. Good. Now, you and your partner in your little bubble, right? The ones who had experienced the frustration of missing hands, are you now happy? Yes. This is part of the process. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to pass something around the room. And it's going to be destroying our bubble. Put your water on the floor because I need you to do something. And I'm whispering with microphone on, great. So, Agnieszka and I are going to be facing each other, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass something to Agnieszka, and she will turn around, pass it to her, okay? But it has to be what I pass Agnieszka. So, Agnieszka, pay attention. Come on, quickly, come on, quickly. Oh my God, slow. We're never going to finish. We're going to be here tomorrow. Can you start in each of the lines? Thank you. What a mess. What a mess. Thank you. Okay. For our next activity, if you can hear my voice, can you clap once? If you can hear my voice, can you clap twice? If you can hear my voice, can you clap 3 times? If you hear my voice, can you clap 4 times? Thank you very much, thank you. Okay, no, don't sit down. Because the thing now is, I want the first person in each row on the left and the first person on each row on the right to create a combination that includes your hands and your knees. Whatever you want. And you have exactly 45 seconds to pass it round. Are you ready? Ready? Okay, students, pay attention here. Ready, steady, go! Did we get it back? Get it back there? Can I ask? Teachers make the worst students. Can I ask, was there any problem? Who had problems? Raise your hands. Oh my God. Did you pass kindergarten 1? Okay. What were the problems? You can sit down now. Thank you. What were the problems? Yes? Too much information. Thank you very much. Another problem you experienced. Come on, you guys. Remembering. What other problem? You were unprepared. Something else? My instructions were crap. Okay. What else? What? Coordination. Tell me about that. I have 2 left feet. Yeah. Anything else? Not paying attention to instructions. It doesn't matter that we're bad. You didn't pay attention. Good. Okay. This is one thing for us to think about. Think of all these problems that we have talked about. Now, I'm going to show you a series of symbols, but there is one symbol missing in the series. What I want you to do is individually, without cheating or peeking or talking to the person next to you, try to figure out which symbol is missing in the center square of the sequence. Okay? There we go. Don't waste the memory of your phone. You have the QR code with everything. Huh? Oh yeah, you have to figure out which one is missing. Guys, this is logical. Don't you see it? Don't give me that laugh. Maybe you didn't prepare enough. Maybe you're not that awake. But when there's a will, there's a way, I always say. Any idea? Okay, I'm going to give a special prize to the person who gets it right. Okay? Do you want to see which one is it? It is? Sorry? Yeah? How many of you got it right? No more or less. No more or less. Right. What if I told you that I just make a flick and you will never forget this? Would you believe me? You ready? Okay, can we reflect a little bit on what we have done? We did a physical activity and we did a thinking activity. How did you feel? Stupid. That's one of the answers I was waiting for. Thank you. No, really, really. How else did you feel? Huh? Crap. Sorry? Challenged. And what did you learn? A little bit, coordination is difficult, so you found out another personal limitation. Good for you! Well, you know what, guys? Many times our language classes are like this for the learners. Look at all the difficulties they had. Too much information. Crap instructions. Not paying attention to instructions. Not being prepared. Coordination. I cannot do it. I cannot say thesaurus. Right? Yet, we have our lesson plan that we plan for our students. Let's put big inverted commas there. And we are not sensitive to what they need. The same case happens when you do this that we like to do a lot, discovery learning, right? There's a sequence, there are symbols, figure out which one is missing. From what? And what does that blasted sequence refers to? And what if I had told you that you can manipulate the images to come up with something you already know, or something that has to do with counting? If I had done those little moves, what would have been different? I could have even asked you to look at the image covering one eye, Look at the image covering the other eye. Wouldn't that have been fun? And wouldn't you have said like, oh, there's a 1, there's a 1, oh, there's a 2, right? Unfortunately, many times the lessons that we teach get the students in the same mood, foul mood, that I put you. So it's all a matter of personal perspective. I use this activity a lot when I do workshops because I think it gets teachers to think outside the box a little bit. Now, think about how many of you were at the plenary this morning? If you were not at the plenary, the person next to you can tell you a little bit. But we discussed 6 ideas, 6 different students' needs. The need to explore, the need to engage, the need to encounter, the need to experiment, the need to extend. And these needs, how do they relate to what you see in classes every day? What are the roses in those ideas? Something that you think this promotes learning. What are the thorns in those ideas? What should we watch out for? What things we should watch out for that do not contribute to learning? And then, what are the buds? This could turn into something good, right? Think about those ideas, right? And just discuss with the person next to you. We had experiences where you didn't know what you were doing, but you were doing stuff. Was it fun? Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun, but was it useful? And then we have this idea to respond to people's needs. So talk to a person next to you, and let's find the roses, the thorns, and the buds in those ideas. Are my instructions better? Thank you very much. Pardon me. Thank you very much. 1 minute. Have you had a good discussion? Let's keep these ideas. Let's keep these ideas, right? And let's do something. Okay. Starting from the left, can you give yourselves a number between 1 and 6? Gabi? No. 2. No. 1, 2, 3. Kindergarten 1. Okay. And then? No. No, you. 5. Hello? No. 1 to 5. No. What? Listen. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, you were right. It was 6. You were 6. Sorry. I'm sorry. 1, No, you. One. Go on. Come on. One to six. Okay, you know what? Choose a number that you want. I can't all with you guys. 1 to 6. Choose the number that you want. Okay? Have you chosen one? Can I see the hands for those who chose number 1? Can you get together, please? Haha. Those who chose number 2, can you get together, please? Come on, you guys. This is a workshop. Number 3. Cowards. Now go get together. Number 4. Number 4, get together. Number 5. Get together. Number 6. Number 7. Just checking. Just checking. Well done. Thank you. Get together and sit together. You can sit together because you're going to work together. Sit wherever you want, use the stage, use the stairs, use the seats. This is literally a fire hazard. You guys sit together. Maybe you are too many, you can split into 2 groups, right? But sit together. Sit together because we're going to work together. Those you guys, you can sit together with your numbers, the same number, number 6 over there. We have 2 groups of 6. 2 groups. I have number 3 here. Number 3 here. Oh my God. Three. Listen to me. This is the level of noise in the room. Right? Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. And let's bring it down a little bit. Thank you. Now, the idea is we're going to do some group work according to your numbers. I want you to be comfortable. So sit together. If you are too many not to be able to have a coherent discussion, right? Try to split up your groups. If you don't want to participate, you don't need to participate. You can observe, right? But this is part of the process, right? So we're going to devote for the next activity only 7 minutes. It's not a complicated activity. The moving around is complicated. I should have thought it another way, but the idea now is I'm going to show you some QR codes, okay? Who's group number 1? Who's group number 1? Okay, you guys take your cell phones out because this is your QR code. Number 1, this is your QR code. Number 2, where are you, number 2? This is your QR code. Number 3s, Are you ready? Number 4, they are coming back, they are coming back, they are coming back. Number 4, take number 5, and my number 6. Don't worry, they are all here again. Hey, can I explain what you have to do? Each of the groups has received a specific classroom activity that corresponds to the framework. These are things that are literally taken from the classroom. These are real things. My question to you is, would you use this in your teaching? Why or why not? And how you would use it, okay? So each of you has a different activity that corresponds to one of the students' needs. If you could also discover which of the E's it is, it would be best. Listen, we have, what time do we finish? 11:10? Yes, 11:10. So we have half an hour. I can be generous and give you 10 minutes. Would that be good? Yeah? So can anybody explain to me what you have to do? Can anybody explain to me what you have to do? Okay, nobody can. Each of the groups has a different activity. Would you use this in your teaching? Why not? And if you can connect it to one of the E's in the framework I showed in the plenary, all the better, right? The E's from the plenary, okay? But make yourself comfortable. Don't stand around. If you want to sit down, sit down. Sure. Hi.
I was in your plenary this morning, but you...
Carlos. Everybody, we have 5 more minutes to round off the activity. You guys, we have 1 minute. get you to stop talking? Tell me. What's the code? Do you know what you were listening to? Do you know what you were listening to? No? It's the Canadian artist who studies Celtic music, Lorena McKennitt, and this particular melody is Tango to Évora, the city. Okay, you guys saw these activities and you had a very interesting discussion, right? Hopefully, unless you were talking about what you were doing tonight or how the family are or how much the next pay increase is going to be. But, pardon me, what I would like to do now is to show you how we actually articulate all these ideas. And remember, at the end you will have access to the full presentation with all the ideas, right? For the people in group number 1, this is, remember that in the plenary I showed you an image that was like a cogwheel that had movement, and there were 3 moments outside and 3 moments inside. The actual framework is designed so that both teachers and learners develop productive habits of mind. So when we are in class, because as we said, this is an artificial situation, we do certain things. What you see here is an agenda, right? The students don't get access to the words. They just get access to the pictures. And my question was, would you use this in your lessons? Why or why not? Any opinions? Any strong opinions? Either in favor or against? Yeah? We structure the beginning of the lessons in a very specific way. Because as I said, my student teachers teach in public education. So English comes after history or geography or mathematics or physical education. So we need to bring the kids into a frame of mind that, hey, this is English, right? So one of the ways in which we do it is by having a very careful first 5 minutes of the lesson. This is a 45-minute lesson. In the first 5 minutes, what the teacher does is it does the orientation, okay? How does the orientation happen? In general, the first thing that teachers do is what we call a do now activity. When students enter the classroom, they already have something to do while they settle down, right? And if our students are anything like your students, they tend to arrive late, right? The bell rings and then they have to finish eating something in the canteen. They have to give a kiss to the friend. They have to talk to the other one, send a message. Oh, and I have English lesson. And then they end up coming like 5 minutes later. The first 5 minutes have to be very productive. So they are doing something. Now, the do now activity is something that basically gets them to put their heads down. Do you know why we do that? Not just to focus, but to calm them down, right? We generally have, I mean, if my student teachers are amenable to it, we do a little mindfulness activity, like we may play some cymbals or whatever, take a deep breath, do some sort of physical stretching, or we do the line around the classroom and massaging each other's shoulders. We cannot do that very much because, you know, touching other people is difficult, but all the other things that bring them down, and they do the do now activity. What can it be? Make a list of 5 words connected to this topic. Look at these 3 sentences. One of them is false. The other 2 are true. We saw that last class. Check with your notes. Anything that gets them to focus. Then the teacher provides the agenda. And if you can see, the agenda comes before the learning outcomes, because this is a script. You know the work of Vygotsky, right? And how mediation happens. This is one way in which we can mediate the entrance into the lesson by telling the students first the agenda, like first we're going to have a little pair work discussion, then I'm going to show you a picture, and we're going to try and together try to analyze the picture. Then we're going to, that picture is connected to something we're going to listen to. So we are going to use your discussion and whatever you can say about the picture to prepare you to listen. Notice that I'm not just telling you the class. What am I doing? I'm also orienting you towards why we're doing these things. From the listening, I hope that you will get some good questions that you will use later to interview your partner, the same person. And then together, you're going to create a mini poster connected to the topic of today. Notice that I haven't mentioned the topic yet. And last, I have a quiz for you, right? And we're going to check whether we've learned or not. Are there any questions about the agenda? No. So the next thing is, so why are we doing these things? Because by the end of today's class, I hope that you should be able to do X, right? You will have learned, or you should have learned 7 new words or 7 ways of talking, of giving advice, or whatever function that you're teaching. And then after you give the learning outcomes and say, okay, like think back. If you had to give advice to a friend about life, about health, about food, about whatever, what can you say in English now, before we learn something new? And then I would go around the classroom, right? Some people may say, do this or do that. Okay, we're going to learn other ways of doing this. Now you can say this. By the end of the class, how many or how much do you think you will be able to how much advice do you think you will be able to give, right? In general, they say very modest numbers, like 1 or 2 new pieces of advice, whatever. And what happens is, at the end of the class, they are able to give so many more pieces of advice, and that is already a motivator, right? And then that is the goal setting. And then I say, okay, but the topic today is going to be diseases. Say whatever, right? What diseases do you know? That is our script to start the lesson. It's interactive. It's not like this, because you're not my real students. But there's a lot of eliciting, there is a lot of discussion, and guess what? Most of it is done in Spanish. Why? Because we want this orientation to be the scaffolding that we need, right? So that what they get are cognitive cues, cognitive interest cues. We're giving them a sense of security. Now, if we look at diversity in the classroom, at home we have students who are dyslexic, dyspraxic, dyscalculic, who are in the autism spectrum, who are ADHD. For different students, an agenda provides a certain sort of floating device, if you wish. In our experience, if you have students who are ADHD, they tend to get lost in the lesson. The agenda, which is on the board, right, brings them back. For somebody who experiences anxiety, and particularly language learning anxiety, knowing what they are going to be doing, why they are doing it, and what the end result is very productive. How do we do this in other ways? If we are going to be working with a unit of work that contains an important learning outcome, we pass it on to the students to create learning outcome posters or slides. We are very fortunate in Uruguay because we have the 1 laptop per child nationwide, and we've had it since 2007. So all our students have laptops. We also have laptops, and we have a learning management system and free internet. So we incorporate a lot of technology. That's why I put slides or posters. Also explain to students why what they are learning is important, right? It's not just English for tomorrow, as I was saying this morning, but it's English for today. And invite them to tell you why they think it is important. Sorry, I have to rush because they tell me 10 minutes. So all these are practical ideas. Sorry. This is the encounter moment. Again, more teacher-centered than the other one, right? What we are looking for there is depth, connections, deep connections, meaning, and we activate the background knowledge about three things: the topic, the lexis, and the task, right? I asked ChatGPT to draw me a cartoon of how this may happen in the classroom. It didn't do a good job, but this is the best I could after 4 or 5 hours. We will discuss hobbies today. Ask your partner, what hobbies do you like? The teacher writes, tell me some hobbies. You write it on the board. In groups, rank the hobbies. Then what does ranking mean, a student says? And the teacher says, order by preference. Go. You see, it's something that gets them immediately doing stuff in English. What other things can you do? I don't know. This is not my computer, I'm sorry. Here. We talked a lot about how novelty and talking about personally relevant issues impacts students' learning. All these are activities that you can do to engage learners, right? Playing a game, polling the audience. We have the fortune to be able to use polls, doing an icebreaker, telling an emotional story, present a new and interesting situation. One of my favorite ones was we have back home a little bag of small toys, right? So we take it and students take out one toy at a time and they have to tell a story, continue the story connected to the topic, right? Third one. These are two tasks. What did you guys think about that? No comment? One needs to be built beforehand, the first one. But do you find the principles of purposeful, true communication in the tasks? Is this something that students may have seen before? So received information, input. Are they doing something with the input? Is there a gap, at least one gap that they have to bridge? So in principle, this works. When we do expression, we make sure that we don't do activities, that we do tasks, right? And the tasks require a pre-task phase where there is preparation, priming. It requires that they do the task, but before they report, and that is the most important moment, you are giving them time to prepare how to report. And when that happens, the magic I showed you this morning happens, right? When they have time to prepare. And you can use any of these other activities for expression. Well, this is something that this comes from a book that I wrote last year, and it's a methodology book that I wrote for my students, basically. They have issues with, okay, what's the difference between an inductive approach, a deductive approach? And this is the best I could do, right, in the form of a table, right? And look at how the table is organized. There's a first column that has criteria which are common to all the different teaching approaches. Just think about using a table like this, like, I don't know, a rubric or the types of houses. Build a table. What are the criteria, right? What I'm doing here with this, as I said, this was for student teachers, right? Remember we said that when students encounter the information, they have it all disorganized. We need to organize it in a way that is meaningful to them. And here I was talking about student teachers in the first year of teacher training with no experience whatsoever, having to deal with deductive approach, inductive approach, discovery learning, and teach, test, teach. Test, teach, test, sorry. So I needed to organize the information. As you can see, develop criteria, and every one of the approaches follows the same criteria. The information is not long, it's chunked. There are examples in the criteria. And then we connected this with videos of lessons that appear online, right? They also observe their cooperating teacher. So we use this multimodal approach. In encountering the new language, the important thing is don't pre-teach, right? Or teach before they tell you what they need, right? And remember, in terms of language, use, meaning, pronunciation, and only then the form. We came to practice, and we have 6 minutes, so we are going to get there right on time, right? This is a typical grammar exercise, right? I see that movie 3 times. She go to the supermarket yesterday. Typical stuff. I mean, we are not going to get rid of this because they appear very ubiquitously in groups. What I would like to introduce to you is the idea of the man-high teaching or 3 times practice, right? The first time is you do it the usual way. For example, number 1, Anna, what is it? I saw that movie 3 times, or I have seen that movie 3 times. And teacher, correct, well done. You cover all the items. Then you tell the students, okay, close your books. Then back. Anna's sentence, use the present perfect. I will give you the verb, see. Who remembers the full sentence? Right? That forces them to recall. Or, if you have been working with a text, a longer text, right? Details about the text. And then, the last stage is either to personalize or recreate. I always like to do personalization because this is what gets the students talking about themselves. So I may ask something like what appears here, these are the ideas of Underhill and Scrivener. I would do something different. I would say, tell me a movie you've seen more than 3 times. You know, teenagers do that, particularly horror movies, right? So how many people have seen this in class? And what is the film about? And who acts in it? And what is the worst thing or the best thing about the movie? Whatever. So this is experiment. Remember that I told you we use a certain sequence that works for us in Uruguay. There's imitation, there is substitution, there's manipulation, personalization, and reconstruction. What do I mean by that? Imitation, when we do pronunciation practice, we do drills, oral drills, and individual drills. Repetition, imitation. Then we take, but everything that we say is connected to the input. If we have been reading a story, we select sentences from the story. If we have created a small narrative, we use things like that. Then there is substitution, right? And there are a lot of nice techniques that you can use. In the book, I give you like 25 techniques, but one of the things that we do for substitution is instead of me giving them words, I ask them to give me words that they remember, and we write them at random on the board, and then they have to dictate sentences to each other, We're working at the level of sentence, that is substitution. Manipulation, anything like ordering, you know, the kind of activities. And personalization. Why do we go to personalization before reconstruction and communication? Because that is when students get to own the language. What is personalization? How does the topic play in the real lives? And reconstruction could be anything like tell the same story, but from the perspective of the cat who was sitting in the scene or whatever. It's revisiting the same story. Last but not least, we had how can you use this in your teaching? The lift technique. Have you ever used this? No? Lift is learner-initiated feedback technique. That is something created by Sarah Brookhart. It's a wonderful activity. Instead of you telling the student the feedback, the student asks you questions in the corner, in the margin of whatever they've done, and you respond to what they are interested in. That is an awareness raising technique, that is a self-assessment technique, and look at how it extends the understanding and the production of the language, right? Other things that you can do at this stage, give a second task. Do you remember the task about the dinner with the different food preferences today? The extent for that lesson was now two of the people are call you and say, we are not coming to the dinner. Redo the menu for the people who actually are going to attend. And you should see how much better that is. It's about diving deep, going back to the learning outcomes, right? And asking them, how many pieces of advice can you now give? It's about flow and transformation. When you do self-assessment, review the goals we set at the beginning and use the agenda as the quiz at the end of the lesson, right? Also, if you ask a student, child or teenager, what did you do in English class today? What are they going to say? Nothing, right? Now, when you work with the agenda, you are adding value not just to your teaching, but to their learning, because you use the agenda at the end of the lesson as a recap, and then you ask them, what did you learn? And then they have takeaways. My takeaways for you are these three. Just think, before we leave today for a very well-deserved break, which of these things will you start doing? Which of these things would you stop doing? And which would you continue doing in terms of your teaching practice? Just think about that, right? Think about that. And if you're interested, this is the book where I explain the framework. It's called New Directions in Language Teaching. Notice the subtle cover design. Yeah, the designer made a mistake. That book is, you can download it as an ebook from Vital Source. It has a cost, but the presentation, you have the link there, you can download it. Now, if you allow me, I'm going to go back to the presentation in the plenary to give our colleagues who couldn't take a photo, the chance to do a photo of the QR code. Are we ready with this? And people, may I say thank you very much for your participation. I hope, no, you don't need to clap. I hope you take some ideas, that you use them in your classes. And you will have access to my email. So honestly, I would love to hear if you implement these ideas here in Portugal. if you could send me some feedback, positive or negative, I don't care, because one of the things that I feel is if we communicate in this way, from outside the inner circle, we can help our profession grow much, much more. So please, don't forget me. That's my email, and write to me, okay? Okay, I'm going to show the plenary. Give me a second.